All right, welcome to our Older Girl Advisory Board Roundtable. I'm Emily Speck. I work at Girl Scouts of Colorado, and we organized this for you guys to just kind of hear a little bit from a girl's voice about what they are doing to change the world. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to them to let them introduce themselves. I'll really be here just to answer or ask the questions, I should say, and they'll be answering them. So let's turn it over to you guys. I'll let you guys decide who would like to go first. That's always a fun one. All right, go ahead and make sure you guys are unmuted and go ahead and share.
Hi guys, I'm Lisa. I'm an ambassador and I'm from Colorado Springs.
Hi, my name is Katie. I'm an ambassador and I'm from Pueblo West.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. I'm an ambassador and I'm from Colorado Springs.
Awesome. And all of these girls are part of our Older Girl Advisory Board, which is our advisory board that helps elevate the girl voice for our council. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. I hope you girls are ready. I've got the first question for you. It's kind of a big one. What motivates you to make the world a better place?
I'll start on this one. I think for me, what motivates me to make the world a better place is, one thing is seeing the people who've come before me, whether it's the suffragettes or civil rights movement or anybody who has made major change in history, learning about them and seeing them do that and work so hard to make the world a better place makes me feel like, well, why wouldn't I keep working on that? Like, why would I put that to waste when we could be making everything so much better and just continuing to elevate our way of life and the way that we treat people around us?
I completely agree with that. It's sort of kind of like it's not an obligation, but you feel obligated to carry that on, because if you don't, it's basically like we don't want to stay static. We want to continuously change the world for the better, to promote equality amongst everyone. And I feel if we don't continue that, we can revert back to things that were negative and things that set us back. And it just creates so many issues for everyone else.
Like Katie and Lisa said, definitely, like, why would you not keep working on something that somebody's made such a huge impact on? And then also, if you think about it, you see the impact that other people have made on the community, and you start to think, well, why wouldn't I want to make that impact? And why wouldn't I want to help someone else get to where they're going? You want to be that person that continues the stewardship of a global community, in a sense. So you're always trying to not only make the world a better place, but really impact each human in a way that will make them better and yourself better.
Yeah, I really love that, Kimberly. It's also like just on the individual level of maybe not necessarily like the whole world, like, if you don't make a huge impact there, maybe that's not such a big deal because you have had relationships with individual people and made their lives better and made your local communities better. And it doesn't always have to be like on the highest level at the biggest, on the biggest playing field. It can just be in your family, in your school.
Well, and jumping off of that, any change is change, if you really think about it. And the tiniest steps will still get you to that destination that you want to get to. And also what I was thinking is, if you dislike something or something just isn't right and it doesn't sit well with you, why wouldn't you want to try and change that for everybody else? Because there may be people who feel the same way and they just don't have the capabilities to get there. But once they see somebody else who is doing that, then you can get a larger range of people to come together to change that.
And with that, it's not always about you. You may have something that you want to focus on, but you might find another person that perhaps has something more important or something bigger and cooler that you really, really want to help them get to. So in helping them, you're not really helping yourself. You're always going to be worried about the other people around you. And that's really what making the world a better place is helping the people around you.
I feel like that's kind of what it's like all about, because when you're trying to change something, it's not about you completely. You may not want recognition in the sense, and that's completely fine. But the thing is that what we're trying to do is make it better for everyone else in a whole. We're trying to make sure that everybody has that opportunity, and it allows for everyone just to have a better life, and it encourages everyone to make those changes and fight for that. Because I don't know if anybody else thinks about this, but it's easy to think on your own, but it's easier to do something when you have other people.
I think that's a great point and a great kind of segue into our next question. And I loved all those responses. I get like goosebumps whenever I hear you guys talk about this stuff. But so how have you amplified your voice, or if people don't know what the term voice, like your passion and what you care about? And also kind of that part two of the question, what about the voice of others? How have you kind of amplified both of those?
I'll start with this one. So amplifying your passion, that's something I think that every human, every person, every girl should definitely focus on, because you're not going to get anywhere without working on what you're passionate about. If you don't like it, then you're not going to be interested, and your end product is not going to be great at all. So in amplifying your voice, for me specifically, it's always been about helping other people. That's been my passion. And so really kind of putting myself in positions of like leadership where I can help make changes has been what has enabled me to kind of expand my voice in a sense. Definitely like being on the Older Girl Advisory Board has definitely amplified like a lot about where I'm passionate about making our community as Girl Scouts better, our community as like cities, as a global community better. I don't really know what else to add to that.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I agree. Like the Older Girl Advisory Board has been something that has just helped me in like a really fulfilling way to amplify my voice to people all over the state. And that has been amazing for me. But I think the best way that you can amplify your voice is just by not being afraid to step up and not being afraid to be the leader, even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if you don't have a ton of experience with that. It gets easier as you go. And that's what I found has been the most fulfilling in my life and has really been able to get me the best results wherever it is, in your family, at school, with your friends, like just being the person to bring up a conversation that might be hard to talk about, or that you might see a lot of sides to. Just being ready to like tackle any issue and being ready to be the leader of that is just a great way to amplify your voice.
Well, and you were also talking about like experience, and what we see a lot is, and me personally, I've seen it in myself, is when you have a lack of experience in something, you're afraid to take that on, but you can't gain experience without doing something. So it's really just you have to take it on, and you can't be afraid of failing. And what I've learned is that to amplify your voice, you have to get involved, and you can't be afraid of what people might think of you. You have to know like where you want to go. And so when you get involved with things, then you start getting your voice heard, but as well as you can amplify other people's voices and you can encourage them, because when you have a backing, it's very much, you feel more confident, you have a sturdy foundation, you can truly find like what you're passionate about, like how Kimberly was saying, because when you're passionate about something, you can really make like huge steps.
Yeah, and going off of that, like as young women, sometimes it can be hard to find a place to advocate for yourself and to use your voice. And I think that while you're focusing on amplifying your own voice, it's also amazing to amplify those of your friends or your peers, because you can build a community there where, you know, you're safe to share your ideas, or you can really converse with each other and support each other, even if you don't necessarily agree. But, you know, sticking up for them and amplifying their voices will ultimately make you stronger, make them stronger. They'll stick up for you. It's all about supporting in a group setting, I think.
I love it. Kind of off this question, I'm just throwing this one out to you guys. Is there someone, I would say girl preferred or a guy, that you currently like follow on social media or that you've been really inspired by, that, you know, either helped you amplify your voice or someone that you amplify their voice by like reposting or sharing or anything like that? Is there anybody that's super passionate to you?
I feel like Michelle Obama is a really good example of that. She's always pushing to really tell people to expand their passions and explore what they want to do and what they love. And through that, she's inspiring people to continue to make the world a better place, going back to the very first question. And I think that's just a really, really powerful thing to support.
Yes, I love that. And I love Michelle Obama. I follow her Instagram. Like, it's great. I love her message. But for me, I love Amy Poehler. If you don't know who she is, she was on Parks and Recreation. She was Joy and Inside Out. But she has this organization called Smart Girls. And on social media, they're all about amplifying the voices of girls and women who are just doing spectacular things all around the world. And I love to see that, and I love to repost it. And it's often stuff that I've never even heard of in careers or just in issues that I didn't even know about. So it's great to educate myself and also to share that with my friends and just really appreciate those women who are doing great things in the world.
So I can't think off the top of my head names at the moment, sorry. But what like influencers in like the music industry have really like given me like that sort of feeling of me wanting to amplify my voice and others, because it just I don't know if anybody else gets like the same feeling with music, but it has that sort of message that sometimes can't get through with just talking. It's very much like it gets stuck in your head and you start thinking about it, and it's the things you're listening to while you're studying, it's the things you're listening to while you're in the car, while you're walking to class. It's that whole assortment, and it just gets that message through that you can do this and you are fully capable. You just have to take that step. So that's basically where I get it from. And also there's a community on Twitter where there's just a ton of women who are just super inspirational and they want you to do the best that you can, but they're also looking for your support as well. In a sense, you're kind of all working together to create a better platform, a better voice for everybody else.
Awesome. I love all those. Well, kind of the last question I have for you guys, and probably one of the most important ones. Why is it important for girls to change the world?
Is it okay if I start? So, why I believe it's important is because we're a part of the world. When you look at everything, I believe everyone should have that contribution to the world, because if you don't, then it's going to be one-sided, more to this sort of section of people than other people. So there's not that equality, and also those voices and maybe issues that one group may not hear is happening in that group. So if you don't get that, then we kind of get this one-sided view, and we get those polarized glasses of, oh, this is perfect, but there's actually things happening on the sidelines that you aren't seeing because you're only hearing from that one group.
Yeah, and with that, if we as girls don't step up, then our voices are never heard. And so going off of the idea that we have this one-sided picture, we're never happy and we never have this sense of fulfillment. And going back to like passion, we never have that passion, and we can't make the world a better place ultimately, because to make the world a better place, you really do have to work together. And it doesn't matter, what you look like, who you are, or what you support, you have to work together.
Yeah, there's the grand idea of we need to make the world an equal place, and girls and women have a lot to do with that in making their voices heard. But for me personally, why I think that girls should amplify their voice is because that's where I've seen just the most amazing people, whether it's being a camp counselor or doing service projects with my own troop or just meeting Girl Scouts from around the country and around the state. They have the most brilliant ideas. They are so passionate about so many things. And whether they're brownies or they're ambassadors, they're so smart and they're so driven and just full of potential. And I think that we absolutely cannot let that go to waste. And we need to teach girls how to use their voice young, because even when they're young, they have amazing ideas and they have so much to offer the world.
Yeah, so definitely don't be afraid to offer your voice, offer your opinion, always work with those people. And going off of what Lisa said, whether you're a brownie or you're an ambassador, it doesn't matter. Whether you're in Girl Scouts or you're not, we as girls are the ones that will always be able to come up with these brilliant ideas and bring them further. And it doesn't necessarily have to be this grand idea of government, but it could be something as simple as, your Girl Scout troop doing a really great service project.
And I think it's important to get that whole range of ages, because when you're working together, you're getting maybe an old view that worked for that time, but you're also getting that new view, and you can come together to create something really special. And I see that a lot in troops. I love seeing little brownie troops just talking amongst each other, because they come up with some of the greatest things, because they don't have that impact or that fear that maybe when you get older, I remember being very confident when I was younger, but as you get older, it kind of depletes, but you have to regrow that, and you have to realize that you need to be that young person again, because those ideas are so new and they're just filled with life and are organic. They're not based off of completely old ideas. They're brand new.
Awesome. I love that. I mean, that just makes me so happy to think about it. And, I think you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but the idea that it doesn't have to be this huge thing, right? It doesn't have to be this massive project at the beginning, right? Someone could pick it up and do something different. I think we shared this morning about this young girl. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name, but she started this project for her school. She wanted to collect 1,000 books that showed Black girls as the main character, right? Because she was just, as she said, I was tired of seeing books with white boys and dogs. That was her quote. And it started really small, right? And it's grown and grown and grown and grown, and more schools are adopting it. So thinking about that, what is, something simple that you guys can think about that you've seen that could influence bigger change? Do you have any ideas what a girl could do right now that's listening to this conversation?
Get involved. If you're passionate about it, go do it. Don't be scared. Just go do it. There's no reason to hold back. Brainstorm with your friends, your family, ask people how you can do something. Don't be afraid.
I think something very small that we can all do, and anybody can do, is create a group of people, because when you have something like a club or something, you get people who are interested in that topic, and you all come together for that goal. So when you have that goal, you all are working towards it, and it can be something really small, let's complete a food drive, but it can grow to something so much more.
Yeah, I think that's the way to get anything that starts with a small seed of an idea to grow, is to just talk to other people. And if they're already passionate about that, great, get them on your side. If they're not, convince them, tell them why they should care about this. And you're going to get so many people that agree with you and that want to help you. And that's how you grow anything and make it into something beautiful and big and new. And yeah, that's just so important, to talk to people.
Awesome. Well, I think we're just about at time. Do you guys have any last closing thoughts that you want to say to the girls out there, especially the girls in Colorado?
So I would just like to say things may seem incredibly daunting, which means something so big that it's unachievable. But just from like this year alone, I completely believe that everything is possible. So long as you have that spirit and that passion for it, it's so possible.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, all of you that are here already, all of you that are watching this, like, that's the beginning step. Like, you're already on your way there. Like, you're already listening to the girls around you and working together, and that's great. And just keep with that and stick with that. And if you can stay in Girl Scouts, stay in Girl Scouts for as long as you possibly can. That's my advice to everyone. It's such a great program, and it's taught me so much and has just given me wonderful female role models.
Yeah, and with that, really create that sisterhood of the girls in your troop or in troops around the state. It doesn't have to be just within your troop, because like even personally, I started Girl Scouts 13 years ago, and there are still girls that were in my original troop that I'm still really, really good friends with. And so with that, when I attempted my highest awards and I earned all of them, being able to lean on them and ask them questions and bounce ideas off of them, that was just really incredible. And that's the second step in going somewhere and creating an impact.
I love all of that. Thank you so much, girls, for attending today and being our speakers. I think that for me as an adult, it's really inspiring to see girls and to see especially youth that are engaged in our future. It brings me some bright hope that everything's going to be okay, and and that the world is going to continue to be a great place and an even better place for girls and for our youth and everybody. I really appreciate this conversation. And if you're listening, I hope you got a little bit of inspiration for this. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording real quick.